Hi, my name is Katie Gamble, and I'm here with Charlie Kuhn, my friend, for another episode of Clarksville's Conversation, where we want to share stories about things that are happening in the community and people's stories. So, Charlie, you get the luxury of introducing our guest today.
I do, and you know, everybody's always so interested in the school system and what's going on here in Montgomery County, and there's a specific program we want to talk about today with Chief Academic Officer Sean Impeartrice. So, Sean, welcome to the program.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir, and if you'll notice, we are social distancing.
He's 6 feet away from us.
Everything's good in here, but welcome, and we sure want to learn about this teacher pipeline that you're working on. So,
sure, I'd love to share some information from you. It's exciting work. It's an opportunity for us to invest in the community, partner with a local university around a workforce demand area. So about 2017-18, we were looking at increasing our teacher diversity, and we applied for a seed grant from the state. Give us about $20,000 to look at best practices. We have 16% of our teachers are ethnically diverse, but 50% of our student body is. So we all believe that, you know, teachers should represent the community they work in, and so we really wanted to focus on that. At the same time that was happening, we were 60 teachers short for the first time. You know,
yeah.
We're blessed to live in a community that's full of growth, but that growth was challenging us as far as hiring teachers. So we found a practicing program in Fresno State, Fresno Unified, where they invested in their community, their high school seniors, their classified workforce, and hired them as educational assistants, gave them real on-the-job training if they had a desire to become a teacher, and then paid for their university work. And so together they got the on-the-job training, they got the university work that gave them their certification, and then when they were done, either a period of 1 to 3 years, depending on the education that they had going into the program, they became teachers. And they became highly effective teachers, because if you think of teacher prep right now, in your senior year, when you go to study to become a teacher, you have 2 6-week placements. What that has yielded us over time is 3 to 5 years, 50% of those teachers leave the field.
oh wow.
Where in a residency type program, 80 to 90% stay in the community. They're still in the field, but it makes sense. It's after a medical model. So you don't worry about a first-year surgeon because of all the residency hours they've had with a master. It's the same concept. So not only is it a way to grow teachers within your community and represent diversity, but it's also a best practice. If we were to redesign teacher prep, I believe this would be the way to do it.
So just walk me through briefly, let's say that you've got a person that joins it, and so what do they start doing, and what's the processes they go through?
Sure. So, you know, we have an application process. They interview with us. We compare them against the other interviews. We have a rank system. They have to share their transcripts if they have any, or their ACT scores if they're high school seniors. And then once we bring them on board, we do some initial training with them around college classes. So we know that first generation, ethnically diverse college students usually have problems in 1 of 3 areas. It's focused note taking. If you're a first year college student, you're taking notes on everything, right? Critical reading, how do you decide what to highlight and what not to, and then structured writing. So we give them some initial education in those areas, and then we get them in the classroom, and they have competencies that they have to work at in the classroom that have to deal with how they'll be evaluated as a teacher. So those things like professionalism, planning, intervening with students academically, all those areas, we determine what they should be able to do their first year, their second year, or their third year. And at the same time, they're working on the competencies that the university has for them to earn their certification. We're providing wraparound support for their classes, so they're paid in a full-time job. We pay for their education. There's no out-of-pocket expense. And then what they owe us is just what we put into them. So if they were in a 1-year program, they'll teach for us for at least 1 year.
Okay.
If it's a 3-year program, they'll teach for us for at least 3 years. But the research is very solid that if you invest in your community, they're going to stay in the community. So.
Now, how long have y'all been doing this program again?
We started our first pipeline in 2018-19, and it was 14 middle school English language arts and math teachers, and they're already in the classroom. It was a 1 year because they had a degree. And then we started with Austin P last year, which is a 3-year program. These are people that may have had some college units or high school seniors that met the Hope Scholarship. So there's 40 of them, and they're specifically in early grades. And then last year we did an elementary and middle and brought Lipscomb in, and the neat piece about Lipscomb, it's a 1-year program, but you can also earn your master's degree.
Okay.
So with the Lipscomb program, not only can they be certified K-5 in special ed, but they also will have a master's when they start as a teacher.
So how does somebody get interested? They watch this and they say, hey, I'd like to do that. What do they do? How do they contact you?
Yeah, so Teacher Resident Pipeline is what we call it. So TRP at CMCSS, Clarksville-Montgomery County School System.net is the key. We have pipeline facilitators that monitor that website all the time in those emails, and anybody expresses any interest at all, you'll get an immediate response. So if you're a member of the community and you felt, you know, I've really thought of going into the profession of teaching, but at this time in my life, I can't be without a job, or I can't afford to do it on my own. Let us work with you, because we can provide those opportunities for you. Same with high school seniors. They're interested. We'll start visiting campuses in January, and then our classified workforce. We've tapped into our classified workforce. We've got custodians that have become teachers. We've got people in transportation that were routers that have become teachers. We've got cafeteria workers that have become teachers. The great thing is they already work with kids. We know they love students.
Right.
They just need the on-the-job training and the support to get them through. And many have tried college and haven't been successful. So it's really important for us and anybody out there that really wants to give this a try. We're not going to introduce you to college and then not support you. You're going to have support through your studies. We feel like that would be malpractice. If we're going to invite you to college, you got to meet the college entrance requirements. But if you meet them, we feel you should finish, and we will do everything we can to ensure that you finish.
Is there certain times of the year where you're recruiting, or is it just?
Yes, this is the time of year. So mid-January will be our recruitment, and we'd love to do that face-to-face, but you know, with COVID,
Right.
that's a challenge. So what we're going to do on our website is we're going to have what we usually do face-to-face is video representation of all the educator prep providers and the pipeline opportunities, and there'll be about 82 total opportunities out there. That'll be video.
So there's 82 positions you're feeling? That's a lot.
82 positions for next year, absolutely. And so that'll be on the website, and then there'll be open sessions to ask questions. Then we will start the interview process, and that will be face-to-face.
Okay.
So by starting mid-January, we usually make decisions late March, early April, and then you'll start some of these classes in the summer.
So I'm sorry, Charlie. So those 82 positions you fill, I mean, I know they're going to start learning. Will they be assisting teachers in the classroom and helping out as well during that time?
They will start that next year.
Okay.
So some of them, you know, may be doing that now, just not part of the pipeline. They might be educational assistants. But we guarantee them a job.
Because those teachers need all the help they can get.
Absolutely. And, you know, during this time of COVID, it's really come in handy because we've had teachers out, but you've got like 2 residents in a master teacher's classroom. So they're able to step in without getting subs, and you know subs have been challenging in COVID trying to fill classes. So they've helped us keep schools open at the same time of getting real life experience, and those students getting the consistency of a common face and voice during their education. So during a challenging time, they've unintended consequence, but they certainly helped out.
When they fill that gap, like currently, unintended, they just kind of happen to overlap, and now they have this opportunity. How does that help them? I mean, it's kind of an obvious question, but how does that help them as they're going through this program? Because it wasn't part of it, and all of a sudden they're in the thick middle of it.
It's the old baptism by fire, right? We've all taken jobs that we felt like we were going to gradually, we were going to gradually go in and learn our craft, and now it's baptism by fire, but they've risen to the occasion. The principals have been so impressed, and so sometimes when you're forced into a situation like that, the best comes out of you, and that's what we've seen. So during a very trying and stressful situation, they've risen to the occasion, but they also get that modeling on a day in, day out basis. They see it every day. So And we only put them with the best of our
Yeah.
teachers. So,
You know, how long have you been in education?
31 years.
31 years.
You
So,
started when you were 12?
yeah. So 31 years, we're in unprecedented times for sure.
Absolutely.
How do you see this program, you know, fill in the gap? You've kind of talked about that, but how do you see it growing over the next few years?
Well, you know, interestingly, we started out with Austin P. So we had one educator prep provider and ourselves. And the state tapped into us and said, how can we support Grow Your Own? Because there's a teacher shortage and there's a diversity shortage. So we went around the state with Austin P sharing our program. And they then started a process to help with funding, a class size waiver and some grants. And we went around showing how we did it. And now there are 7 educator prep providers and 38 districts 2 years later doing the same work.
Wow.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely. So we see it. There's a need out there. Educator prep providers are just not providing enough teachers to fill the void.
Yeah.
There is a teacher shortage, and so it impacts the teacher shortage and it impacts diversity, and most of all, the passion of it is you're investing in real people in your community. That who better to serve our students than our own community members?
I agree.
It seems like you guys modeled your program after another program, and it seems like schools probably in Tennessee and other areas are now looking at you as a model program. And so how are you helping other school systems with this program?
So like I said, we've presented multiple times with Austin P and Lipscomb. The next level of work we've got is the funding work. So the first year of the program, it was out of our general purpose fund. But every other, last year's expansion and this year's expansion is not touching our general purpose fund, and that's because we've gotten about $488,000 in grants, and then we've gotten a class size waiver, so we've taught people how to do that as existing funds that go to teachers anyway. So no increase provides more support because you can buy more residents than you can teachers. So that process, the next big process, and Charlie, we've done this work together. We've gone around with industrial manufacturers and looked at ways to do apprenticeship work here in Clarksville with our students, and had some success. But when we've gone around and seen best practice around there, I soon realized that the work we're doing with Pipeline is an apprenticeship. And so we partnered with Workforce Essential, Marla Rye, and we partnered with Austin P and said, how do we get this registered as an apprenticeship with the National Labor Relations Board?
Well, that's smart.
And if we do that, more funding comes in, right? And so we took our idea, the governor liked it, Governor Lee liked it, and so the state said, instead of you and Austin P applying for that, can we take it over and make it a statewide program? And so, sure enough, Governor Lee has filled out the letter and the application, and we're hoping by January 5th that Tennessee would be the first statewide Grow Your Own apprenticeship program in the United States.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Which provides a lot of funding for this to happen. And Austin P and Clarksville-Montgomery County would be the first ones to go through it, and then we would help with the state to teach others how to do it.
That's amazing.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It has to feel good to be on the forefront of coming up with something new like that.
It is, and teacher shortage is one of those things where you can kind of go down a wormhole and say, what are you going to do about this? What can you do if you don't have the people, right? And then I think it shows that sometimes you just got to put a stake in the ground and do something different to solve a problem, right? And I think that's what we've done. That's been the excitement behind it. We knew we couldn't sustain what we put into it through our general purpose budget after the first year, but we didn't know what that answer was going to be, but we found it. So I think to serve the students of our community, they need a qualified teacher in a classroom, and saying they're just not there is to me, not the right response from the community. So we had to do something different. We had to think differently, and there was best practice out there. So we took it and we ran with it, and it's been an exciting program. In 31 years, it's probably the most exciting piece of work I've been part of. But we've got a wonderful team, and they're on it, and they work with these residents on a daily basis, and the stories that these residents tell is really where the power is. You know, when you can help people change their path or their life, and they didn't think they could accomplish this, or they didn't think they had the means to go through a program like this. So that's why I want to reach out to the community. If you're interested and you like working with students, we can teach you the rest. If you're dedicated,
So where can they,
hardworking.
one more time, where can they email?
So Teacher Resident Pathway, TRP,
TRP.
at CMCSS, Clarksville-Montgomery County School System.net.
Okay.
You'll get an immediate response. So if you, hey, I heard about this, I want to know more about it, we can definitely hook you up with a pipeline facilitator, we call them, and they will reach out to you individually and answer any questions you have, and then let you know when the interest meetings are going to take place.
Well, Sean, I appreciate you joining us. It's very obvious your passion for not only the community, but serving the people and the kids. So I'm pretty impressed and proud that you guys are doing something like this. This might become the new way of doing teaching.
Yeah.
I hope so. I hope so. And we really thank you for your time
Absolutely.
and getting out the community message. We do want the community to know about it. Word of mouth has grown over the past couple of years. We keep doubling the number of interested candidates. So the more candidates we have, the more opportunities are available and the higher quality we get.
Yeah.
So we appreciate it.
Well, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time.